Yes, 1440p. Okay. Oh, that looks weird. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, man.
Yep.
Apparently, I grind my teeth.
My wife does too. Maybe.
I've
She
asked
actually
my
has
wife about
a
this.
mouth guard when she forgot to take it to Chicago.
Excellent. So it's just sitting there on the night table mocking you.
Yeah. As I thought about how much room I had in my bed until my 6-year-old said that she was sleeping in there since mommy's gone.
You could say no to your kid, right? I mean,
Yeah, it has no effect, but I mean, I can. Like, trust me, I tell her no all the time, and it has yet to materialize into anything.
I'd just be like, listen to me. Daddy needs this. Stay in your own damn bed.
Well, then she would look at me and tell me what she told the dog yesterday, because the dog was
God.
chewing on a bone, and then growled at her because she was trying to pick him up, and she said the dog loves the bone more than he loves me. And I really didn't want to have a moment where my daughter said that I love the bed more than I loved her. Just not gonna deal with that emotion.
I got you.
All right. Fresh pavement daily. Yeah, well, we don't have pavement yet out there, Chris. We have just concrete curbs. At some time, they will actually repave the street, and we will have fresh pavement daily. All right, you ready?
Sure.
It's Friday, and Paul, you know what I did this morning?
I do not.
I put a sprinkler in the ground because grass is nice and crispy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turned on the little spigot, and it was at about that point that I realized I had the sprinkler pointing in the wrong direction. And
Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
it was, a little wet in the pants, if you will.
Well, it's warm out. It was probably pleasant.
It was warm, and that water was cold at about 9:13 in the morning, a very specific time
Right.
of the day.
I went to the dentist this morning, so I also had water in the face.
Well, congrats. You're still here with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, that wraps it up.
Comfortable moth,
Look what
Oh, there it is.
So, true story. I went to after we did the show yesterday. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can revive this machine. Let's see.
It's weird how askew that looks.
Yeah, I mean, it's the side is off.
Oh, it's just a reflection. I see.
Yeah,
No, I mean the front. Yeah, no. Look at the CD-ROM there.
Oh yeah.
Our DVD drive is
Yep.
askew.
Oh yeah, it is because it's not connected. But
Yeah.
remember these things that used to one point had this fancy drive.
Yeah.
This is real common. You press the button and go, poof, and that would open as the CD tray would plow out.
Sure.
So I went to plug this thing in yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice anything missing from this region that might be
the
used?
power supply.
Yep. There's no power supply in this machine.
Yeah.
And that
I think now we have discovered why you stopped using that computer.
it was salvaged for parts, I would assume, at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It does have, what is this, Firewire on the front? 1394.
Yep, that's FireWire.
Yeah.
It must be the the original version, like kind of a big oval or oblong shaped port.
Yep. So I pulled the graphics card out because I didn't want to figure out what CPU was in here. Maybe I will do that before I trash this whole thing. The graphics card in here had the name of an ATI Radeon, not AMD, but ATI Radeon. Remember when that was? The graphics card is the X1300, which was released around 2005.
Yeah, I don't remember it, but
yeah, I mean, it was a no-name. Well, not a no-name. It was an ATI Radeon X1300.
Yeah,
very modest
nondescript.
Card. Yeah, was not breaking any graphical benchmarks there. So that dates this machine to right about 2015, which is the bigger question of why do I still have it? It's 14
Was it holding
years old
something
at this
up in your cellar?
It just sat in the corner of this house. It's going to go out to the dumpster not long after this show.
Yeah, I think I had mentioned somehow this had come up. My dad had his original IBM PC sitting in a storage closet, and then my son got to have a nearly identical experience to me when he and his cousin decided to hold on to one of my father's more recent computers that had been in storage here in Pennsylvania to turn it on and see if there was anything worth saving. And as with my previous experience with the original IBM PC, there was not. So that was eventually, actually, I think it's still sitting in my garage, but I think it's going to be recycled or whatever we do with it.
So I don't know what you were saying.
It's on board.
I went and got a screwdriver.
Yep.
I was going to see if I can't pop this.
We got to flip the thing to just see so we can see it.
Oh, yeah. So what we're really going to live stream here is Brad probably cutting himself on some metal daily.
You should plug it. It's too bad you couldn't plug it in so you could electrocute yourself as well.
Maybe you have to push it down.
What are you trying to do here?
Take the CPU cooler off.
Oh, yeah. No, it's got to be a little arm, right? Like you kind of pop it off and...
You know, that would be... No, what it...
On today's interactive episode.
Come on. Like, you have to...
Oh, you're definitely going to cut your hand. This is going to be spectacular.
Well, what you have to do is, like, press it down, and then there's, like, little teeth that you have to get it under. And so
I can imagine this. That thing's going to flip right off and hit you in the eye or something.
Wouldn't it be the worst mistake of my day with that? Started off
Can your daughter drive you to the hospital if she has to?
Actually, she's at summer camp right now, so I just bleed out by myself. Even better. Oh, come out of there. Like, I can see it. Well, this is... People listening to the audio version of this are just probably loving the podcast. Even the video people, like, it's like, what is he doing?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I ask this question every day. But while we're doing this, Paul, and by this, I mean, while Brad screws around with the computer.
Yeah.
Just such a good use of time. Did you see the Microsoft backtracking on the...
I did. So that was Much Ado About Something.
Yeah, so I have a conspiracy theory, which was sent to me by an insider.
Does it have to do... Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So here is the conspiracy theory related to that, because obviously what happened was a decision was made. Probably management was not involved, like the top level management was not involved. And then they saw this and went, what are we doing with our lives? Or they saw the feedback or whatever. Right? That's the story so far. The conspiracy theory is that there was somebody low level who didn't want to make this change, so they pushed it live ahead of Inspire to make sure that management saw it so that it would get reversed.
Oh, that's even better than I thought. That's pretty good.
It's a very 90s-ish Microsoft move. But if you can't get the stink raised internally, just do it publicly.
That's great.
Nothing
Wow. I hope that's what it was. That's and then, the nice thing is Inspire is going to happen now, and they can look like heroes a little bit because, they're doing the right thing.
Oh, heroes is a strong word.
I know.
That is, we killed the dog, and we went out and bought another dog.
Here's another dog.
Doesn't.
Right.
Come out of here, stupid. Ow.
Yep, there it is, folks.
I mean.
I need to see like a gusher of blood. It's got to be like a little...
Just
yeah. Oh God.
I don't really want to take these screws off. Or can I? I mean, this thing is so old. It's probably just got like asbestos lining in here.
So I'd have to actually let me just look it up. So what could this thing be?
Yeah.
So
it's going to be 2015 era.
2015
or 2005.
Okay.
Let me go look for a bigger screwdriver while you're doing that.
Yep. So what I'm thinking is we could look this up because we can figure out, what the generations are here. Here we go. So 2000. So this is pre-Core 2 whatever. So, boy, what were they called? What were they called before that? They were called. processor, high-end Pentium. They displaced the core line of processors displaced Pentium. Was it really still called Pentium? Yeah, they had Pentium MP. Yeah, maybe. So let's look.
Did you figure out what it is?
Well, no. So I was thinking I would be a Core 2 something, but it's too old to be that. Too young to be that. Too young to be that. Too old to be that. Sorry. So you could have. Yeah, this could be anything. I mean.
Oh, I got it.
Let's see. 2005. It could be a Prescott. Yeah, Pentium 4. It could be a Pentium D, but I bet it's not.
All right.
Not a Pentium M. Is there anything on it that identifies it?
Ooh, you're looking in the wrong camp.
It's an AMD.
It's an AMD.
Oh boy, AMD. Okay, so Athlon.
It might have been
64, maybe. Like
might have been Athlon. Well, nope. It says
let's look it up.
Sempron.
Sempron. Oh, jeez. So Sempron was the lower end one, as I remember. Let's look that up. Sempron is a name used for AMD's low-end CPUs, replacing the Duron. The name was introduced in 2004 and actually continued all the way through 2015. So Sempron, let's see, 2004. Yeah, 2004.
Actually, a QR code on here.
Does it have a model number like 2500, 2600, something like that?
Some light on there. Assembled in Malaysia.
Great. That's how you know it's probably okay.
I don't know if this is the chipset number, but it's 28103.
Yep. 28. Say it again. 013?
103.
28103. That's not coming up. Well, there's a 2800 line. So Sempron 20, it's probably 2800. Well, that doesn't necessarily make sense. Well, yeah, maybe it does. Part number, it doesn't exactly match. It could be a Sempron 2800 plus, 2 gigahertz, I guess, 2000 megahertz. 12 volt. No, that's not volt. 62 watt.
iOS
62
camera
watt.
supposed to have a QR reader built into it.
Oh, maybe. Let's see. You said 28013? Yeah, it's an AMD Sempron 2800 plus. It is a yeah, it's a 60. That is what it is. So it's a socket A. Blah blah blah. It cost all of $100 when you bought that thing for the chip itself. It is 32-bit, 1 core, 1 thread. Jeez.
Can't imagine why I had a problem running Vista.
Yeah, I mean, that's really funny. But the minimum, what does it say? Minimum typical. It's a 62 watt. It's amazing. Your light's probably dim when you turn it on.
I'm trying to download a QR code reader, but iOS 13 is being iOS 13.
I can send you the exact thing if you want it.
Yeah. All right, download QR code reader for
Although
iPhone.
actually, it's, interestingly, okay, hold on a second. Well, this is Sempron though, because apparently, I think that number that you gave me. Let's see, which was what, 20, you said 28103 or something?
Mm-hmm.
That's, yeah, they've used this package number for other processors too, but it's a Sempron, so that's almost certainly what it was.
Here, do you want the other number that's on here?
Yeah.
This one is much longer.
Mm-hmm.
It is SDA.
Oh, this is exactly this is it. This is the number you want.
Hold on, my eyeballs are not what they used to be. Looks like 3000.
Okay, this is a slightly better chip than the last one.
DUT.
Yep.
4D.
Yep. That is a Sempron 3000 plus. It is it's the best speed. It is. It's still the same basic, heart. I mean, as far as the 62 watt, 0.13 microns. Clock multiplier 12. It is 1 CPU core, 1 thread. Does have floating point. Of course, it's the 2000s, I guess.
Does have floating point. What a feature.
Well, they didn't always.
Yeah, I know.
Back in the day. I can't. Where is the speed of this thing?
What is this RAM?
Oh, it's 2 gigahertz.
Wow.
So the branding on these processors, by the way, so the way the thing they named it was actually AMD Sempron 3000 Plus.
Okay.
Now this thing I'm reading doesn't actually say this, but this is what I remember. The actual frequency of the chip was 2000 megahertz, and I think what AMD was advertising was that this thing was as good as a 3 gigahertz Intel chip. Like, I think that was the point of it. It's a 3000 plus.
Okay.
Because they're trying to tell you that. I think that's how now that I'm looking at it, like that's, I think might have been how they branded it. 1000 megahertz is 3 gigahertz, right? I mean, 1000 megahertz is 1 gigahertz, right?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I'm just trying to. Oh, come on. Is this app not going to run now? I don't want. No, I do not need QR Reader Pro. I just.
I don't think you need to get the. Okay. Oh boy.
It's too small. Like the camera can't even focus on it.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh. This is not a data matrix code. What?
Wow.
Wow. There you go. All that time wasted. I might actually keep this, let my daughter see it before I chuck this thing. Unless any
She'll be
readers
so
out
impressed.
Yeah.
It would be like if I showed my kids a like a teletype or a like a telegraph machine or something.
No, why is that not dropping back in there? You line the arrows up. Then you're supposed to put the little drawbridge down or whatever it's called.
Yeah, right.
How much RAM do you think this thing had?
It's gonna be hard to remember that kind of thing because I was just looking at all these old OSs, like I have been, like, a Windows NT machine in the mid '90s could have something like 4 or 12 megs of RAM or whatever. So by that point, I don't know, a gigabyte, maybe 512 megabytes.
512.
Yeah, 512.
Why won't this drop back down? There we go. Oh, it's seated back in there. I could put it back together if I needed to. Yeah, let's see. It had 256 megabytes of DDR, 333 megahertz.
333. Wow.
Just blazing speed right there. And then the other thing which you can't see that it had included, which was right back here. So this was the video capture card back here.
Yep.
And then nested up right next to it
was it an ATI all-in-wonder card?
That sounds incredibly familiar. This is where I'm going to cut myself. There we go.
There it is.
Oh, no. It is not. I did have one of those cards at one point.
Oh, wait, don't say it then. Then what was the other one? It began with a W. It was like a Win.
Yep.
Damn it.
You're on the right track.
Yep. It's, geez, what were those things called? I had so many of these too, with exactly that little module. You can see where the coax comes off of it.
Yep.
Win. I can see it. Win TV. Yeah, I knew it was Win something. Yeah.
Win TV by, was it Hopage?
Yeah. Yeah, like Hopage or whatever.
Yeah. But I always thought it was German. I don't even know if it is.
Sure. It's probably Pennsylvania Dutch. It's made by Amish people.
Yep. That was the video capture card in. And then what was the sound card? Oh, it doesn't even say the brand on it. Well, I know it was Sound Blaster.
Was it actually Sound Blaster, or was it like some cheap third-party Sound Blaster compatible?
It was probably a
Sound Blaster, because there was a ton of that kind of stuff.
Had digital optical in, and where's that out? No, that's out. And all your fancy colors.
Yeah.
This was my media center PC. It was great. And now it's completely useless.
Now you could fire up a VM on your existing computer that would run about 50 times as fast.
Oh, yeah, easily.
I
mean, yeah.
That's kind of amazing.
It really is, because you think that's, one core, one thread?
I know. It'd be simple. You wouldn't even notice it running.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, look at
I wish I could go back in time and tell, the me of 1996 that I could run a software version of a operating system, or like a computer in a window that is going to destroy every piece of hardware I own at that time. From a performance perspective, it really is. It's funny, like, how little PCs have changed in a way, but the speed difference is like astonishing.
Yeah, because for a while it was all based on clock speed, right? There was a real big pissing match between Intel and AMD. It's like, oh, we're at 2.2
the megahertz wars.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they quickly realized that around 3 gigahertz, it doesn't. You're kind of up against thermal limits before the little chips would start exploding, which I
Yep.
did totally destroy an AMD K62 trying to overclock it.
Oh, wow. I
Which
destroyed a chip.
one of these, like if you look at the little center silicone chip,
Yep.
one of the corners like legitimately cracked and just fired off into
Yeah, no,
Narnia.
I melted one of those myself, but it wasn't overclocking. I was tinkering in the computer like you were just doing,
Hmm.
and I touched it with something metal, not a screwdriver, but something like a screwdriver,
Yeah.
and it literally popped. There was a flash of light,
Hmm.
and that there was a pool of liquid there, like it destroyed whatever the chip was.
Like the solder on there too.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think it'd be my luck. Like these capacitors shouldn't shock me, right? It's been plugged in for 10 years. It should.
yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, you know. There we go. And Brad kills himself daily.
You know, it's bad. Like when your daughter comes home and you're like, "Hey, could you do me a favor? Would you would you get your little hands in there because mine are too big?" And,
They're just somewhere like dexterous. You know.
yeah, just grab a little,
Just spin it.
just
See how.
pull some of those. Just to see what happens.
I mean, these things are big. So, yeah, that's the end of this bad boy. He will finally. Let's see Microsoft on there. No, it says remove panel, remove instructions. Oh, from panel, remove instructions. Trying to read upside down, whatever that means. So, yeah.
Exciting.
Other things that might be vaguely relevant. Minecraft Earth is going to be launching soonish. The assets in place to actually get that beta out there are starting to show up in the right places. So
Mm-hmm.
that'll be here. I don't know exactly when, but at some point in the near future.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I don't know. That's really about it that's going on, other than Microsoft backtracking on the usage right, which is actually very convenient. It's going to save everybody a whole bunch of money on their bag checking fees because nobody has to take a pitchfork now. So.
Still, they did think of doing it.
I know. See,
They,
that's the thing
you
that
know,
kills me. Is like, yeah, no, they did it once.
yeah, yep. It's like a cheating spouse. You gonna trust him now?
Yeah, no kidding. And which was really convenient, by the way, because I spent most of this week emailing Microsoft partners trying to get their feedback, and I was going to write a nice long post on Monday about how people were talking, considering leaving Dynamics 365
Yeah,
and all sorts of platforms because they're
right.
not getting them for free anymore, right? So
Right.
it's
I wonder though if this still might be worth looking into because how do you feel about the stuff now? I mean, I'm glad they went back on it, but
yep,
that was the plan of record.
that was.
Yep.
You got anything else for today, Paul? You got any PCs you want to?
No PCs, but I do. Well, actually, I do have a PC story. I will post this today, but we are going to be giving away, thanks to Huawei, a MateBook 13.
Oh.
From Thurrott.com, and it's open to anybody in the United States. Sorry, it has to be United States only. That's not our requirement. That's Huawei's. And they're going to handle all the shipping and everything. So the way we're going to do this is we'll put a post up today. It's the Core i7 configuration. If you go to the Microsoft store and check it out, it has 8 gigs of RAM. I think it's a 5. Let me look before I say what that is actually.
Slightly better than what I'm playing with right here.
Yeah, it'll be a little faster. 512 gigabyte PCIe SSD, 1440p display, 10 finger multi-touch display, IPS, Windows 10 Home, 64-bit, Dolby Atmos, NVIDIA GeForce MX 150 graphics. It's a sweet looking little machine.
Yeah.
And this is going to run for 10 days, and so it will run until Monday, July 22nd, upon which time we will announce the winner, and the winner will be chosen randomly, the way we've done these before. If you remember, you have to leave a comment. The comment will have to be a particular phrase, so I can more easily collate them. And we'll see how it goes. No duplicates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. Okay. I need to take some pictures of this bad boy to use it for a future post on the site about writing up the turning point, and then I think that's about it.
It looks like your PC past has turned to dust.
It is pretty dusty, and admittedly, I did brush it off a little bit before I put it up here because I was like,
Yep.
But yeah, fun. All right, everybody. Well, that wraps it up for today on this edition on Brad Dissects a PC Daily. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and we'll be back here hopefully on Monday. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I literally have, a dozen or so virtual machines related to the stuff I've been writing, and I know just playing around with this NT4 thing that I've got running right now, like in this little window, that this computer, this virtual computer, is easily 10 to 20 times faster than any computer I ever actually ran NT on.
Yeah, I was looking to see. I was thinking, so the hard drive is still in here. I could pop this hard drive out and plug it into my PC upstairs.
Oh, you should absolutely do that.
I don't know if I have the right connectors for it, though.
So you can get something really cheap that will connect that to what, Paul? To
SATA, I think it's what I've got up there.
Well, I think you can even go right to USB.
Well, I'd like to. Well, I could probably boot from that.
Oh, you want to try to boot it? Jeez. I would. Well, at least.
Yeah. First, I'd plug it in to see what's on there.
What you should do, Brad, is just connect it, copy the stuff over into a folder, turn that thing into a virtual machine, and boot that.
Wouldn't that boot though?
Well, they'd have as much chance of booting as booting it for real. I mean,
if as long as I don't know. I was gonna say as long as that is the boot INI, it should be.
Well, no, I mean there's a way to do it so that I mean you'd have to create you'd have to basically image it.
Mm-hmm. How does this thing come out of here?
I bet it would work. Well, or I mean, I bet I should say I think it's possible.
No, but you said it would work.
Okay. Let me amend that slightly.
How does this thing come out of here? I mean, this hard drive's so old it has the jumpers on it. Remember we used to put those things on there to dictate if it was master or slave?
Little dip switches and stuff, yep.
Where?
This NT, I've been trying to download Service Pack 6 for Windows NT4. It's running Microsoft Internet Explorer 2.0. And I don't know if you remember this, but there's like a flag logo that animates with clouds behind it when it's trying to connect to something. It's not very good.
I can't tell what's holding this thing in.
Our website does not come up for some reason.
There's no screws on that side. There's screws down. Well, we'll see. All right.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Later.
Bye.